So in just one moment, we are going live, and this should be good. So we'll have confirmation in just a second. So excellent. So I hear we're live. So thank you once again to our Zoom audience for being here for Rockin' Together. What Rockin' Together is, every Saturday between 2 and 3 o'clock, we come to you with every vendor that's possible to hold an event and a celebration. So today it's all about venues. So thank you so much for those joining us on Zoom, as well as those on Facebook community. What you can do today is, if you're on Zoom, feel free to use the Q&A question button at the bottom. Ask us questions. We'll make sure they get answered. If you're on Facebook, type a hi, type a comment. Don't forget to hit like, love, and share so others can be part of it. Ask us our questions. We have our team on the back end off location giving us those questions from Facebook. So I'd like to start today introducing and welcome our panelists that are here. It's a exciting day. It's going to be 1 hour and laid back and fun. So here we go. The first one up, I'd love to welcome. They've been a staple over in Macungie area, Bearcreek Mountain Resort, for 20 awesome years. And this person that is a panelist today has been with Bearcreek Mountain Resort since the beginning. What Bearcreek specializes in is weddings, corporate events, and social events. And what this person does most and loves about her job is meeting and talking to a wide variety of clients and guests and seeing their dreams come true. She loves working with everyone across the resort in all departments, from the grounds to engineering, front of the house, back of the house, and even those smiling, welcoming faces at the front desk. So everyone on Zoom and Facebook, please welcome from Bearcreek Mountain Resort today, Jenny.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for chiming in.
We're so happy to have you here today and give us some insight on what's going on and what's happening at Bearcreek. Our next person, panelist here, I'd like to welcome is from the Glasbern Country Inn in Fogelsville, Pennsylvania. Glasbern's been there for 35 years. And this person who's a panelist today has been in the hospitality wedding events for the last 10 years. She's the general manager and the director of sales of the Glasbern, which specializes in weddings and hospitality. What she loves most about her job is creating the best and most memorable guest experience. Please welcome from the Glasbern Country Inn, Amber.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I look forward to chatting and answering all your questions and assisting in any way.
Excellent. We're so happy you're here with us today, Amber.
Thank you.
And last but not least, of course, in the center of the Lehigh Valley, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, we have the historic Hotel Bethlehem. 98 years they've been right here in the valley. And for 25 of those years is their sales manager running the show and making sure your event runs smooth. Historical Hotel Bethlehem. We're honored to have them here today. They specialize in wedding planning. And what this person and panelist is doing today is loving and listening to couples' stories on how they met, learning about their families, and especially the proposal. Each one is so unique, and she loves learning about that and how to incorporate that into the celebration. So I'd like to welcome from Historical Hotel Bethlehem, Kathy Sanders.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me and the Hotel Bethlehem today. Before I take a seat, I want to show you what we've been doing here at the hotel. We are still open, and we have some great snacks in here. One of our crew members, who is key, and we all have them. Every venue, every hotel has these key people. Harold Lee is our head of engineering, and he has been working so hard. And I came in the other day, and I was just blown away. You know, grocery stores, banks, everybody's putting up those partitions, those plastic, that has to keep us safe. Well, I came in and he made this incredible partition at our front desk that is a Hotel Bethlehem standard. I mean, just take a look at this. This, beautiful woodwork, I don't know if you all can see it. It is just incredible. Look, just take a look at this. Just absolutely gorgeous. Can you all see it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like it.
This is the kind of thing that's going to make our guests want to come back, feel safe. These are the things that we're going to talk about today, that Jenny and Amber and I are going to talk about today, and we're going to make everybody feel good about coming back. So now I'm going to go take a seat.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it, Kathy. And that's what the hotel, that's great that you're able to actually showcase that to us as well as our viewing audience on how venues and hotels and anything out there is personalizing what they offer for peace of mind for those customers that want it. So that's great, Kathy. Thanks for showing us. So once again, quick shout out to everybody on Zoom today. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for our Facebook audience for being part of this as well. I guess I should introduce myself as well. My name is Kevin Romali from Rockin Entertainment DJ Company here, local in the Lehigh Valley since 1996. And we thought of the concept here, our team on the back end, for coming together for the show called Rockin' Together. And it's really zero about sales, about services. It's about giving information back to the community on other vendors and what we're doing and how we're in this together, and to make your planning an event smooth. So feel free to ask those questions. Hit the love button, hit the share button. We love the share button. And we're just going to ask a bunch of questions and your questions as well. So let's start off with some questions here. Or any of our panelists. Amber, do you have anything to say before we get going?
No, I just think, now is such a trying time for us, and, wedding planning, event planning, travel accommodations, everything is so up in the air. And I speak for myself, and I'm sure for other venues, please know that we're here for you and we understand. And, the same question, there is no stupid question. There is no redundant question. We understand that everybody has so many concerns and just so much anxiety around this. So if I speak for all the panelists, we're here to help and to just calm some of those anxieties, in your wedding planning and traveling, requests.
Jenny, anything you want to start off with?
I think I'm a little different than Kathy and Amber, where we are coming from a perspective of the resort being closed at this time, that we are not hosting any events. Well, I don't think anybody's hosting any events, but we are all working from home at this point because we did close up the resort. So I have a little different perspective in answering the questions of what's going to happen to my wedding. When are you reopening? Are you going to be ready to reopen? When are the restaurants reopening? So I have a little bit different perspective on those conversations that I've been having with the brides and grooms.
That's good. I'm glad you bring a great perspective there, being, where you're at right now, being closed. So excited to hear some of your answers. How about Kathy, you?
Yeah, no, we're just, like I said, we're here answering those calls. Sure, they're difficult. I mean, brides are definitely at their wit's end, and the uncertainty of just not knowing. And things are changing on a daily basis. So you really just have to feed that, the calm to the chaos. You just have to be the calm to the chaos of what's going on.
All right, so we're going to start off with questions today. They're not in any particular order, so please, I hope you're able to stay with us for the full hour. Once again, we have Bearcreek Mountain Resort, the Glasbern Country Inn, and Historical Hotel Bethlehem with us today, answering questions in regards to events and venues. So let's ask you a question. Let's go over to Bearcreek and Jenny really quick for, will you honor moving my date and prices quoted for next year's date?
Very tough question. So I have moved 46 weddings as of now. They've all postponed. All but 2 of them have postponed further into 2020. So we will offer 2021 dates under certain circumstances. We had one where they were being deployed 3 weeks after their June wedding, so they couldn't reschedule. I have one that works in a biotech lab working on the virus itself. So obviously she is not coming anytime soon to the resort. So in those instances, we did allow them to move to 2021, and we are honoring their minimums, their room blocks, the rehearsal space, if they're doing a ceremony on site. So we are honoring all of those. Even if they're moving within 2020 and they're moving to a date that would normally be a holiday or a special date, such as New Year's Eve. I had a May or June wedding move to New Year's Eve, and we allowed them to move without changing the parameters of their wedding because they were already, or we kept everything they already had. So even though they were moving to a prime date. So yes, we're honoring everything that we possibly can. There are little shifts that we're making, such as if you had a room block of 30 rooms, but now I only have 20 rooms available. So I'm working with them on finding other hotels. If they had their rehearsal dinner scheduled in one area, that may not be available and already booked. So I'm helping them move to a different area. So there's little things that change, but for the most part, we're honoring it as much as everything as we can.
Is that similar with Kathy and Amber?
Yes. Yes, very similar. Certainly some people have to select maybe a Friday versus a Saturday, things like that. But everybody has been extremely kind. It seems as though they've been very calm. Certainly not, no one's happy about it. They're crying, they're upset, again, confused, but very nice, and very happy that everyone is working with them. We're all in this together. So yes, I agree with Jenny that aside from making some minor adjustments here and there, I think we're all working
okay
together.
Amber, you're good too?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. And it's funny, Jenny, because we had almost the same, we have two weddings that, because of the same reasons, we had to move to 2021. One was a deployment, which, if I may add, thank you to all of our, active military for your services. We truly do appreciate and understand during this time. But we've moved to 2021 in some instances. It's a case-by-case basis. We here at Glasbern have a lot of travelers. We are more of a destination wedding in our facility. So a lot of our guests were traveling from multi-states, multi-countries. So we, keep postponing based on travel accommodations. One thing, the mandates that we really have to keep an eye on here. And I'm sure I see Kathy shaking her head. And I think, she understands that being, in the city, that, it really is a case-by-case basis, but it's the same thing. Most dates are 2020, and we're honoring all contractual obligations. Everything stays the same. We just pick up and move the date.
With dates, question for Kathy. Have you seen more rescheduling for 2021 or rescheduling for later in 2020?
Most of ours originally rebooked for 2020. But of course now there's the question of, is there going to be a second wave? Certainly we hope by that time there's a resolution to that, to the crisis, to the virus. So right now, most of ours have rebooked for 2020. And somehow we accommodated all of them currently.
Yeah, that's always amazing, Kathy, too. Put them all in.
You're making it work. And how about you, Amber? Are you making it work, the rescheduling?
Yeah, most of ours, are later this. I've even had some shift to midweek weddings as opposed to weekend weddings, which is something that, we offer. It doesn't need to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday to have your wedding, especially during summer months. I find that's becoming a little bit more popular when guests, will have off. They take their vacation and they don't mind a Thursday wedding or a Wednesday wedding. But mostly everything is rebooked to 2020. There are, of course, with governing mandates and this, new wave, which we are hoping does not happen, 2021 is definitely up for question right now as to when we will start moving to 2021. But again, it's a case by case and day by day basis.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned about the Thursdays. I know with the entertainment, it has to be because it's starting with the venues, but with entertainment, we are getting a lot of weddings starting to book on a Thursday, more so in the Jersey area because you have a 4-day weekend. How is that affecting us in the Valley? And you guys are one of the 3 staple venues in the area. Let's start with Amber there. Are you starting or recommending Thursday weddings?
I've always sold midweek weddings here at the Glasbern. We've done Tuesday weddings, Wednesday weddings, Thursday weddings. They become ever more popular. Thursday is just one of those things that it's a little bit easier to take a long weekend. So that's always been something that we've done. But I do see a lot more pickup and inquiries in regards to midweek, such as a Thursday. Plus, you can usually get better pricing and lodging accommodations across the board with any of our venues.
How about Jenny over at Bearcreek? Thursday weddings.
We haven't seen it. We have put it out there to all the brides that are rescheduling to do, and we kind of make sure that they know that it is a great date. Most people are going to be possibly out of work still. That their guests aren't going to have the issues with traveling midweek as they would if things were in a normal situation. But we have not had any brides take any Sunday through or Monday through Thursday day of the week. So it really hasn't hit us.
Okay. And Kathy, Center of Bethlehem, what are we looking at?
I'm going to say the same as Amber. Last year, we, Kelsey and I, we had already had several Thursday weddings. Thursday mostly. I have to say, I think we did like 4 last year. So this was even before the virus. So, to see that maybe that might be a new trend, now that this is something because of, date availability, yeah. I think it might be something that might become more popular Thursdays and even possibly Mondays, especially if they're a holiday. I mean, let's, maybe, the Labor Days and the Memorial Days and, things like that.
But with all the venues out there, all 3 of you would be in agreement for you're welcome to have a wedding on a Thursday, right?
You're welcome to have a wedding any day of the week.
That's great. That's good news.
We have a wedding at 7 a.m. for breakfast together. That's fine.
And we've done those before. We've done in the Terrace Ballroom, Kathy. I know we've done weddings for you from like 10 to 2 and then moved up to the Grand Ballroom for a night wedding.
Uh-huh.
That's right. Those brunch weddings are the best.
Yeah. And you still have great memories.
I personally love those, the brunch weddings. I think they're fantastic. The people just love them. A great 11 to 3. You get married at 10 o'clock. You come here 11 o'clock. You have a nice brunch buffet. You have time for a little dance and everything.
100%.
Wonderful. It's wonderful. And then everybody has the rest of their day. And then you have the rest of your day. Do pictures maybe afterwards. You don't have to do your pictures, beforehand. You can do your pictures after the reception. I mean, it's just wonderful. So that's something to consider as well. I mean, now again, I've been doing this a very long time. I didn't even give myself enough years on my introduction, but going back to the day when you used to do 2 weddings in a day, I mean, in the same ballroom, we used to flip them. Don't really want to go back doing that, but certainly if, we had to, because of, again, availability and really want to get married on your date, well, maybe you want to consider doing, 2 weddings in a ballroom in one day. Ooh, we really want to work that hard.
I want to quick do a shout out to those on Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us today. Feel free to ask questions. We have a bunch of questions coming in here, as well as our Facebook Live audience out there. Thank you for tuning in to Rocking Together episode 4. We have Amber from the Glasbern Country Inn, Kathy from Historical Hotel Bethlehem, and from Makunji, PA, Bearcreek Mountain Resort. Jenny is with us today answering your questions. So we've been into it for a little bit. We have a bunch questions answered. I'm going to go off to our another one here. We have a bunch of questions. So what we might do is I'm going to ask my panelists, if I ask a question to somebody else, and before I go to my next question, if you want to chime in on that, just let me know, because we have a bunch of questions and I'm afraid we might run out of time. So this next one, let's hit up with Jenny over at Bearcreek. If I still want my date, are we available to do something scaled back? So they want to have their wedding this August, but because of being out of work for so long, can they cut back? And what are some limitations I should expect when calling a venue?
So I've seen that question quite a bit for June. The June weddings seem to be of the utmost concern now because we know we're expecting some sort of type of social distancing. So we are actually offering to lower their minimums to match their guest count. So if they're in the largest ballroom with 250 people at this point, and social distancing says you can only have events up to 100, they're willing to limit their guests to just that 100, and we would lower the financial expectations that was based on the original contract to match their new guest count. So we are allowing that as well. One thing we are also offering is if it's a special date, let's say you're getting married on your grandfather's birthday, or your first day or your first date that you had 5 years ago was on this specific date. What we are offering is to let them have the ceremony on site, no charge, and then hold their reception at a different time. So that way they can actually say they got married on their special date that they originally wanted. And they can invite up to whatever the social distancing guidelines will be for whatever their date is.
I'm just going to piggyback off that. I think, Jenny, we're kind of doing the same thing. We have a few couples that their date is very special to them, and we understand that having their ceremony on site and then actually moving their wedding, this has just recently come up, to their year anniversary and hosting a vow renewal. So creating a brand new reason to celebrate. So we do have, their special day is their day, and then we come back and we celebrate all again the next year.
Hey, Kathy, going into the summertime here, are you finding that there are any hot dates that are literally maxed out that we should know about or popular that we should plan on a different weekend?
Honestly, Kevin, not necessarily, because I think the summertime people, it's just too soon to speculate what's going to happen yet this summer. Are you referring to, do you think, can you rephrase that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think the question is, it's from a customer here, not a customer, but someone live here, is wondering about postponing their date to the summertime here, and they're wondering, August 15th, wow, it's a huge hot date. If I got to rethink about it, let's not even look at that date. Your venue might be different because you have 3 or 4 ballrooms you can choose from.
Right.
But do you find any that are red flag that, hey, this is a hot date as of now, but we still have room?
Yeah, I mean, well, in our situation, again, because we've already moved our March, our April, and now our May weddings, we are pretty full already for the end of the year. So all of our dates are hot.
Okay, good.
I'm sure that Jenny and Amber are in the same situation. The rest of the year is pretty full. I mean, not to say that we don't still have dates available in some of our ballrooms. We do, and I'm sure we could accommodate still some weddings.
And that brings up the Thursday weddings. It's a great idea to switch up to a Thursday or a Monday.
Yeah. But again, with not knowing where we're going with reopening, right now, it's difficult because now we're going to be looking at, June and, what's going to happen, the uncertainty. Yeah.
Excellent. I have a question here coming in from a corporate event planner. Let's hit up Amber at the Glasbern for this one, and if anyone else wants to chime in. When an announcement is made that our area is open for business, how quickly will your venue be able to accommodate businesses and events again?
So that's a great question. Right now, our mandate is set for May 8th. We are currently closed, which I don't know if Jenny, knew that in our prior discussion. We are currently closed. Right now, we have a skeleton crew on board. Our tentative reopen date is May 9th. And I think we are ready to host events, right off the get-go at our opening date. We have taken deep cleaning practices. We've implemented hand sanitizing stations in every common area. We've reset our dining rooms to accommodate social distancing. We've moved our venue spaces around. We've completely taken this time of closure to really revamp and visit all the areas that needed to be updated and taken care of. So we've done that during this time. I think really what comes into play is mandates. How many guests can be accommodated in a venue? We have two venues here at the Glasbern, a smaller venue and a bigger venue. So we're prepared if you have a guest count of 50, that maybe instead of being in our glass loft venue that can seat up to 80, we social distance and move you to our Grand Lodge where we can, follow government mandates and 6 feet distances and reset that for your event. So I speak for, us at Glasbern. We're ready, from the get-go, date opening, especially with our lodging. We have room service in place, deep cleaning practices in place with housekeeping, etc.
Yeah, I can actually ditto to everything you just said, Amber. We've done pretty much the same. We've taken the time to revamp a lot of our processes and procedures. We've been the deep cleaning going on there is amazing. I walk in and I'm like, wow, I don't know that this building has smelled this new since it was so it's been a great opportunity for us to take advantage of when we unfortunately can't be open.
Excellent. And then on the Zoom platform here, we have a big shout out to Amber and the Glasbern staff. They've done a phenomenal job rescheduling my daughter's wedding from today until future Friday date. Awesome to work with. Why I wanted to read that, because it brought me into a question I just want to ask here. And I know on the entertainment side, we've had this. Let's have Kathy answer the question first is, I need to reschedule my date. I need to postpone my date. I have no idea when it's going to be. But what are venues doing nowadays for we're not having it in June, but we don't know when we're having it. Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay. So, certainly when they call me, when a bride and groom calls me and they, start to wonder, what are we going to do? That's our job, is to talk them through it. I start to say, well, what are we going to do? What would you like to see happen? So, the first thing that I do for them, and I hope this is the way that you're looking at me having, to answer this question, is the first thing that I do is I offer them several dates, several options. And then I tell them to contact where they're having their ceremony and their key vendors. Of course, their DJ or band, their photographer, florist, and it's a process. It's not, because they want everybody to be involved. So again, in their big day. So they have to take the time. It's not something that's just going to happen in a couple of hours. They need to take, sometimes a day, 2 days until all of these people get back in touch with them. I had a couple people be like, oh, well, I'm just going to take this day. And then call me back 2 days later and say, oh, well, the chapel's not available. Well, yes, it's not that easy. You have to take time. You have to pick 2 or 3 days to contact everybody. it's a process. That's, I think, the hardest thing for some of these couples. And then they have to just pick a date.
So there's a little bit of homework on the couples or who's ever hosting the event to make sure all the vendors are together.
Yeah.
But I think what the person wants answered a little bit is, will a venue just leave it as money paid on the table, and the date I can call back in 2020, 2021, 2022 and pick any date, and what's the process?
Yeah.
I'll hit up Amber for the rest of that if you don't mind, Kathy, and then we'll bounce back.
Yeah.
We have done that. I have 2 weddings right now that are kind of, I get it. They're panicked, they're anxiety ridden, they're missing moments, with their mom. They can't go to their dress shop, they can't go ring shopping, they can't get a hold of their florist. They're so uncertain and up in the air. And I, speak for us. I get that. You want to be able to be with your mama and go for your dress, and you want to be able to go with your girls and get your hair done and your makeup trials. And they just don't know when that's going to happen, and they don't want to lose on those moments. And who are we to dictate how that should run? So yeah, money's on the table. If you're uncertain, we get it, because we're uncertain to a certain level too as to when these mandates will be lifted. So we do have a few weddings that have not booked. They just say, hey, listen, we're not going to have it right now. We're just playing this by ear. Work with us. And I am, more than happy to do that, and especially during this time. So yes, we have some unrescheduled weddings that just haven't picked a date yet.
Question here is, do we get a discount if no weekends are available and we need to go to a weekday? Jenny, Bearcreek.
I was just about to say I can answer that one, because we do have a lot that are moving from a Saturday. Again, we haven't seen any during the week, but it would be the same as if they'd moved to, if they are going from a Saturday and moving to a Friday or a Sunday. We normally on those dates offer a 10% off your wedding package. So we are offering them that discount that they didn't originally have on the Saturday. So there's also a promotion that we're running right now, that if a new wedding would book from now till the end of 2020, and we're also offering those discounts to a rescheduled wedding later in the year. So yeah, so if they move to a Thursday, yes, we would give them a discount, as a short answer.
Excellent. That's good. Kathy, Hotel B, same thing?
Yes, we have done that.
Okay. So let's see here. Can we cancel altogether because we have no money now?
Wow.
Amber, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a very tricky question, just because it's not something I've experienced. We have had cancellation as far as baby showers, because we're not stopping a baby. You can't postpone a baby being born. So in that, we have refunded a canceled event. But we haven't had anybody ask that question yet. So I think that's on a case by case basis. Unfortunately, when the date is, the deposits that are, tied up, and if the date would be able to be resold and rebooked. Of course, we here at Glasbern do offer that. If you do cancel and we rebook your date, your deposits are refunded, less 10% or 20% based on the date.
Excellent. I know entertainment, we do the same thing with that. We'll refund or go to some other event.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, you want to chime in on anything about that?
Yeah. Again, most of our weddings, we've been very fortunate that we've been postponing most of our weddings. So, we haven't had the cancellation thing come up. We've been very fortunate. So I'm hoping that that's going to continue on our end. You're going to get married. So let's just hope that we can just keep postponing. Again, we're more than willing to move your date to whenever.
That's good. That's good. All your venues are working together, which is awesome.
Right. The whole point is that you have to keep the ultimate goal, and the focus is that you're going to marry the person that you love, whether it's now or it's next year. So again, keeping that focus and not giving in to this craziness. So I always try to just, keep everybody calm and say, just, let's just focus on that.
Yep. And I know we've had it before where they had to get married now, whether it be for military or other purposes. And we let them know that, go ahead, get married now, do it now. But in 1 year from now, we're going to do a vow renewal and a true wedding celebration, just like you originally wanted with your family and friends.
Right.
So.
And if I can just say, I think to the person who asked that question, I really think that is you need to reach out to your venue. And if it is a monetary struggle, I think in the world, we're all having those struggles. I think that's something you need to discuss with your venue, and maybe they can work on reducing your minimums or work on a different payment structure. Maybe your deposit schedule could be a little bit different and broken up. I think that's something that you really need to reach out to your specific venue and just work with them. It never hurts to ask. So.
Right. And those things we are doing. I have had people who have asked to, again, postpone their wedding because they did lose their jobs or things like that. So it's not a matter of if your wedding's going to happen. It's a matter of when your wedding's going to happen, and those sorts of things. So certainly we're all open to discussion and working with them. I think we're all in that conversation.
I have a question here coming in, and this is a great question because I've gotten it many, many times, and we're the entertainment field. And this is great because I'm actually talking to you three that I'm actually able to get in touch with. I've been calling my venue, and they have not yet returned a call. What can you recommend I do?
We're all thinking, which one of us is it?
Yeah, so it's none of you guys, I'm assuming, because we're getting a hold of you guys. But on my aspect, I've had couples reach out to me, and I've advised them, call, email, Facebook, Instagram, and they've done it all, and they still cannot get a hold of their venue. Of course, you three are getting back to your customers, but what would you recommend to them? Go ahead, Jenny, Bearcreek.
Well, I can tell you, because we are closed and I'm working from home, I do check my voicemails remotely, but I do also go into the office, usually on a Monday morning, just to check any voicemails that came in over the weekend, refresh my files, that type of thing. So the best way, and I'm telling everybody, email me. When I first started working from home, I only have a personal cell phone. I don't have a company cell phone. So I was very leery about giving that out. But I gave in, and some key people that needed to get a hold of me when they did, whether it's on the weekend when I'm not specifically at my desk or AKA my dining room table, that they can shoot me a text. I trust them that they'll only use it when it's necessary. But I would email is the best way to get a hold of somebody at this point. If they're emailing and still not getting a response, check out their website. Are they closed? Are they not there? Is there an emergency contact? I honestly wouldn't know what to tell them other than just keep it up and try and find out if they're closed. Talk to you, talk to their other vendors that may have an in with the venue and may know somebody to call.
That's the same advice I was giving them. Reach out to your other vendors. Someone has to know somebody or be friends with somebody, can knock on their door and be like, what's going on?
Yeah, if I have a wedding that you're the DJ for and they can't get a hold of me and they reach out to you, I would expect you to text me and say, hey, Jenny, somebody needs a response right away.
Yep.
And I would do that the same for anything. And actually it happened with the social sales manager at Hotel Bethlehem. They have one of our brides that's getting married at Bearcreek. Hotel B is hosting I believe, the bridal shower. So the bride was trying to get a hold of me to switch over dates, and it was right as we were transitioning into working from home. So Lacey reached out to me and said, hey, Jenny, contact this bride. She's waiting on confirmation of a date so she can rebook her bridal shower. So I have seen that working.
Okay. Questions here coming in. When does it make sense to move my date? And that's based off of every day and every week. What the government's telling us is different. But when does it make sense to move my date? Go ahead, Kathy, Hotel Bethlehem.
I think you just answered that just in that one line that you just said, Kevin. We're all trying to follow, first of all, what the CDC is stating, what the governor is stating, the bans, and I think that's what we're doing. When does it make sense for brides and grooms? And what I'm saying is certainly I know they're anxious about, do I send out my invitations? Don't I send out my invitations? And what I've been saying is, yes, if you have not sent out your invitations, so of course I always recommend 12 weeks, beforehand. So, right now we're going into May. So, you would be sending out your invitations for August, or July, August. So, they're getting anxious. Should I send them out? And what I'm saying is yes, move forward, send out your invitations, and certainly if they're uncomfortable and we're talking about postponing and stuff like that, then that's a conversation that we can have. Okay. But if they really want that date and they don't want to move, then send out your invitation and put a piece of paper in your invitation and talk about the COVID. And I'm saying if you're that kind of a person who you're lighthearted, make a little joke about it or something. I don't know. Try to be light about it. And this is pending, what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then, take it from there, but don't sit on it because then you're going to be that far behind.
Everybody else switching dates.
Then you're going to catch up if you do wind up going through with it.
But one thing I worry about, and we're saying the same thing, Kathy, to our brides and grooms, send out, put a little note in there saying, as long as government mandates allow, we'd love to see you on this date. Stay tuned for more information, kind of. But one thing we're finding is a lot of invite vendors, they're not able to get a hold of their printers or whoever's sending out the invites. So I always say, you didn't put a deposit or go online and print them. There's tons of websites. I'm always offering my assistants, our day of coordinator, Brandy, that we're there to help, and we'll research vendors for you that are open, that can help you. But I think that's kind of a two-way street there. You're, so many different things that are happening with that, but same thing, just send them out, don't stall, because then you'll be scrambling, and with all the stressors of the pandemic, you don't want a stressor of being behind the eight ball on your wedding.
Yeah, and one last thing on invites, another recommendation we're making is that if the bride and groom is getting ready to send out, we do have several that have not done their tasting yet. So they don't have the entree to put on. So we're telling them, just pick general. If you want a beef and a chicken, put beef and chicken, and then we can choose what those specific options are later. So that's one thing we have about 4 brides doing that, because we do the group tastings. We were supposed to have it in March. It got canceled. We moved it to May 18, 19. We've now postponed that. So we do have, I know.
We're in the same boat. We postponed twice.
So we did the second time around, we didn't offer a date. We just said, we'll let you know.
We'll let you know.
Whenever it happens, it happens. But we have 1 July bride and a few, I believe 3 August brides that, had they gone to the May tasting, if we were hosting it on May 18, 19, they still would have probably been late with their invitations anyway. So we just made that recommendation to them to put a general entree selection on there.
That brings me up. I was going to wait on this question, but we're going to hit it up now because you just mentioned a tasting and food coming in. So I know venues do showcases on their own. Besides a bridal show, it's their own showcase or a tasting or per se. I'd love to get each one of you your perspectives on this. Are you doing any showcases coming up this summertime for new customers? Go ahead, Kathy, at Hotel Bethlehem.
Yes, well, we do have our summer wedding showcase scheduled for Sunday, July 12th. And, we're very excited about it, as we always are. We do one in January and one in the summer. And as of right now, we're still planning it, and we're welcoming our, vendors as we always do. And, I'm hoping that we can do it. It's a wonderful bridal show. So we'll see.
And that's Sunday, July 12th. Is that free for people to come to?
We do have a $10 admission, but there's plenty of free tickets always to be had. So if there's plenty of free tickets through your vendors, and also if you contact the hotel, Kelsey and I are always, giving out complimentary tickets. So yeah, you just
wonderful. And I can vouch from being in that show. As couples, you're going to love it. Grand ballroom, mural, the mezz, out into the terrace, a lot of vendors, a lot of food choices. It's a good showcase of Hotel B. So July 12th, 2020, check out Hotel Bethlehem's website for more information on that. How about Amber, Grace? I know you guys sometimes do tastings. What's your thoughts? Are we doing any this year?
Yeah, we are. So right now, of course, just like Jenny said, we postponed. We were March, April, and now we're looking at June. We're looking at the second week of June. It's a Thursday night for our tasting. That is for any tentative brides, grooms, families. It's included for the bride and groom and an additional cost for any family members, but you can bring up to 8 or 10 guests if you choose. And really, we just throw a wedding without a bride and groom. It's a great night to come out, have a few cocktails, taste our food. It's not necessarily a showcase open to the public, as you know, Kevin, we don't advertise at all. We are strictly word of mouth. So it is solely based on, our tentative brides and grooms emails and anybody who's booked with us.
And they have to be booked with you, right?
They can be a tentative booking, anybody who's inquired, or they have booked, yes.
And I love the way you set it up. Thursday night, 2-3 hours, in, out, done. It's great. You start over at the Glass Loft. They can tour the property. They start in that building, and then they end over at the grand ballroom there. So you get to showcase your whole place, and it's not an overwhelming amount of vendors. You're not going to go in and see 17 DJs. But it's great. I love what you do. And Glasbern, check out their website. Mentioned the second week in June. It's a Thursday night.
Yes.
Well, no, not website. Call them to be interested in booking them.
Facebook, social media, or amber@glasbern.com.
Perfect. Good. And then let's see here. Jenny, Bearcreek, I know sometimes you do tastings, more small, low-key, almost like Glasbern for your customers. Tell me about it.
Yep, so what we do is we invite our brides and grooms, their family members. They can have up to 10 people. And we do a very large scale. Most of our wedding tastings are about 200 to 230 people, which actually can boil down to only about 30 to 40 weddings at a time with all their guests that they bring. It's just like Amber said, it's putting on a wedding without the bride and groom, or with 30 or 40 brides and grooms. And we do that normally on a Monday night. It was scheduled for originally March 27th and April, whatever the following Monday. We're trying to revamp that a little bit. So we're actually looking at doing a back-to-back Monday and Tuesday night, which we had done for May, and now we're not doing that. So when we postponed this May 18, 19 date, we did, like I said, have some that we're going to do private tastings for, but we technically don't have to do another one until middle of July based on our weddings that still need to get to a tasting. So
I know we have a few more questions here that I'm going to definitely ask, but I want to do a shout out. Thank you all the participants here. We have a bunch of them on Zoom on the back end. I appreciate you watching this and tuning in. And to our Facebook world out there, love you as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Our panelists here today, you can see their names pop up on the screen, but we have Kathy from Historical Hotel Bethlehem, Amber from the Glasbern Country Inn, and then representing Bearcreek Mountain Resort, we have Jenny. So they're our panelists today. They're answering the questions. This entire episode is every Saturday from 2 to 3. And you're more than welcome to follow us on social media and tune in. It's 100% free, vendors giving back to the community. So I have another really important question here, and most likely it might be our last one. We'll see. We're coming up on 3 o'clock for each one of our venues. It's in regards to I'll cliff note it. My prom's canceled. My school formal's canceled. I have no idea what my school is going to do, if anything. Can I rely on the venues in my area to come up with something creative and host the celebration? Who wants to hit up on that one first?
We're actually doing that.
All right.
So we have, first of all, the prom that we did have this year rescheduled, and they're not sure that they're going to 100% reschedule at this point, but if they do, they're looking at a Sunday, a Tuesday, a Thursday, because the kids are out of school. They can do it any day of the week. So they're looking at sometime in July. My daughter's a senior, so we're going through the whole prom and graduation thing right now. And her school district, what they're doing is they're planning for graduation a family fun event. Well, who would have a family fun event, but Bearcreek, all the outdoor activities. So I contacted the principal and said, hey, listen, when you're ready to do this, let's talk, because we can host the entire graduating class. My daughter's in a very small school. She'll only graduate with about 250 kids. But we can do all the outdoor activities, which still lends us for social distancing if it's needed, come July or August when they're planning on doing it. The other thing our marketing team is working on right now is putting dates together to host a prom, not just for one specific school, but for whatever school you attend. Obviously, we'd reach out to the ones closest to Bearcreek and say, hey, attend your prom, and it doesn't have to be school specific. So our marketing team's working on that right now.
Amber from the Glasbern, any thoughts on the question?
On prom? I think that's something we host, reunions, family reunions, high school reunions. I think that's something that we would definitely entertain. We understand, this graduating class, bless your hearts. We can't imagine what you're going through and not being able to do that. I know my prom was a long time ago, but it was definitely one of my favorite nights of my life. So I definitely think that's, school districts should reach out to their venues and see what's available and what we can do to help. It's community reach out and community, payback. Absolutely.
Hey, Kathy, how about you? Is Hotel Bethlehem going to possibly think about hosting or coming up with an event for high schools or colleges, events that did happen? Will they be hosted by Hotel Bethlehem?
Yeah, so we have quite a few proms here. Okay. I have Moravian Academy and Notre Dame and Lehigh Academy. So I still have one holding on who has not given up yet. And because they were later in the month of May, and they're still holding on, which I'm sure is not going to happen. But that's okay. I'm glad that they're staying positive. So I don't know, maybe they will still do something, for the kids. It's a private school, so, I'm hoping that maybe they'll still do something for the kids. I did actually have a mother reach out to me, and she wants to get together with several parents and throw a private prom for their school, where the parents actually put it on. So that is something that, of course, we are considering doing. So it's not something that the hotel has thought about doing.
Not yet, but you're up for options.
Yeah.
Here, before we go here, because we're coming up on 3, I'm going to ask each one of you. We're starting with Amber at the Glasbern. I know you answered this a little bit, but I want to hone it in again here. Are you still open? If yes, what's open? And then the second part, okay, I'll ask the second part later. Go ahead. Are you still open? And yes or no?
No, we are currently closed, tentatively opening May 9th.
Okay. Now, when you open, Amber, at the Glasbern, how will your customers know?
Our website, social media, we are reaching out to guests individually that have reservations during that week and letting them know. And most of our guests, we've reached out by phone, like I said, individually to each guest to let them know, if they'd like to postpone or they'd like to move the reservation. But it is, all over social media, website, and direct contact.
Perfect. Excellent. Kathy, Hotel Bethlehem, are you open right now? And what services, if you are open?
Yes, we are still open. And actually, I think all of our services are open. So the ice cream shop is open across the street, curbside service, so you can get that. Our tap room is open, curbside service, and we are gearing up for Mother's Day. So there is a menu on our website that you can order Mother's Day dinner, and our overnight rooms are still open. But you know, you can call and check in. We do still have some people who are
Perfect. And how will your customers know when you're open for hosting events or, doing them?
So definitely, I am in the office, myself and Lynn, who is our corporate sales manager. They can call every day. We're here 7 days a week.
Excellent. Good. Jenny, Bearcreek Mountain Resort. Are you guys open right now? Yes or no?
We are not open. We are in the plan of reopening. As to the specific date, we don't have that yet. So we are doing, so right now everything's closed. Restaurants, we actually closed the day after ski season ended. So I believe that was March 21st, if I'm not mistaken. We had ski season, it ended at 4 o'clock on a Sunday, and then we shut down that Monday. And we are going to be doing curbside pickup for Mother's Day as well, but we're actually going to do it the day prior so they can pick up their dinner as a to-go and then reheat it the next day for Mother's Day. But that'll be the first thing that we're doing that we're open for the resort, that we'll actually see guests come on the resort.
That is good. Well, I have to say huge thank you to three of you, amazing ladies, for being part of Rockin' Together episode 4 today. My heart goes out. Thank you so much for your time, your expertise in putting this together, and always giving back to the community. A shout out to those on Zoom. Thank you for clicking, being our VIP on the back end, and those on Facebook Live. Don't forget, smash the love button and hit shares. We love the shares. And don't forget to hit up our panelists. We have Kathy, who is representing Historical Hotel Bethlehem. Swing over to their Instagram page, Facebook page, show them some love. Tell them you loved watching Kathy today. And then Jenny from Bearcreek Mountain Resort, also Instagram, Facebook, Bearcreek. And then wonderful Amber Grace right there from the Glasbern Country Inn over in Fogelsville. Hit up Glasbern. They got some nice things on Instagram and their website as well. And once again, my name is Kevin from Rockin' O'Malley. We host this every week. Tune in Monday, Tuesday this week for a surprise on what's going to be next week. Thank you again to all of our panelists. Kathy, Jenny, Amber, thank you.
Thank you. We love you guys.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yay. Everybody else, have an amazing Saturday. Make it great. Love it. Be safe. See you next weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.